this thing oversteers.
Okay.
At first we were like, yes. Oh, where does this go? For experienced drivers, this is amazing.
Okay, now moving on to the rear. Ah!
Has Subaru gone mad?
I'm just talking, and if you're still watching, what the frick are you doing with your life? Okay, so for today's episode, we're gonna be doing another Subaru review. So this is the Subaru Crosstrek 2.0 IL. So this is the base variant, and let's check it out. So this is the Subaru Crosstrek, and here we get a big grille, or it looks very Subaru, of course. We get our LED headlights over here, and this is actually our daytime running light. It's halogen. I thought it was a fog lamp, but yeah. And we get a big plastic protective cladding over here that continues towards the chin. Now moving on to the side, yeah, and we get this plastic cladding very similar to the WRX. And we get 17-inch wheels wrapped in Yokohama Geolanders in 225/60/17s. So we get disc brakes in front, also at the rear. If we look up here, ang cute ng roof rail niya. It's actually raised. So I rarely see, or this is the first time I've seen anything like this na nakataas yung roof rail. So cute. So here at the back, very Subaru look with the crab claw LED taillight. We get a shark's fin antenna over there. And we get more vents over here. Ayan. We also get diffuser looking things. And over here, we get a cute rear spoiler na may integration towards the base of the glass. I really like this detail. Here naman sa rear, ang cute na yung door kasama yung part of the fender flare thing. So that's cute. That's giving me aftermarket body kit vibes. Okay, before we get into the car, let's check out what's under the bonnet. Okay. Yarn. Boxer engine. 2-liter. So for the Crosstrek, we get a 2-liter 4-cylinder boxer engine. So of course, all-wheel drive. It's a Subaru. So the Crosstrek has 154 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and max torque of 196 Newton meters at 4,000 RPM. So we get our usual Subaru stuff, our oil filters over here, oil filler, our water, our coolant, brake fluid. So everything's easy to access, maybe except na lang our spark plugs kasi dyan ka mag-aano pagpapalitan. We have a single belt that drives the alternator and the compressor over here. So yeah, the usual Subaru stuff. Okay, so that's it for under the bonnet. Let's head inside. So for the Crosstrek, we get keyless entry, so it's touch to lock and touch to unlock. There we go. So heading on inside. So our door is cloth, ang upholstery, ayan. And then we get our usual stuff, a bottle holder. Okay, let's start the car. So one thing you notice about this Subaru is we get cloth seats. Tapos ang interesting nung pattern. So for the base model, we get manual adjust seats. So that's for both driver and passenger. Pero you know what? I actually love the cloth seats kasi super presko niya and I'm a pawis girl. So here in front, we get our very, very familiar Subaru steering wheel with paddle shifters at the back. And our infotainment controls are over here. Andito yung volume, by the way. Tapos here on the side, we have our aids for our ADAS controls. For our SI drive, this is where you click. So if you want it to be sportier, you just click S. And then, ayan, magiging SI drive siya. And then when you click I, it's gonna be intelligent. Ayan, cool. So for the Crosstrek, we got 2 physical gauges and 1 digital display in the middle. So to cycle through the information here, you just have to toggle. And you can see everything here. Ayan. And moving towards the center, we have an 11.6 HD touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And these are your inputs. Ayan, so may aux, may Type-C, and my USB. So for your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto stuff. So for this one, our climate control stuff is within the infotainment screen. So ayan. So you can adjust it via touchscreen or you can also use these buttons. So what's nice pa, even if we change menus, the aircon controls are still here. So it doesn't really matter na it's inside the infotainment system. And moving downwards, we get a cubby over here. The higher spec variant, I think, gets a wireless charger. And we have our PRND manual, and a little coin holder over here, our electronic parking brake, and 2 cup holders. And we also get a 12-volt socket over here, a little cubby for our cards, and for the armrest, ayan, actually we put all the stuff here so I can do the walk around. So it's pretty deep. You can put a lot of stuff. So one thing lang that will make me want to go for the higher variant is that the base model doesn't get actual buttons for, say, like X mode or auto brake hold. So you have to actually go inside the menu. Ayan, so auto vehicle hold is here. Our vehicle dynamic control is also here. So yun lang, I would have loved to have physical buttons, but it's still good. It's still easy to access naman. Okay, now it's time for the Chini test, yung visor. Papasa ba to? Pwede ba ako mag-makeup? Pwede naman, pero wala siyang ilaw. Makita si Editor San. Hi, Editor San. Over here, we also have our lights. Tapos, yung seatbelt indicator. So, pati the rear passengers, if they're not wearing seatbelt, you know. Ayan, so this is Editor San moving around, showing us that he's not wearing a seatbelt. Okay, now moving towards the second row. Let's go! Ikot tayo kasi tatama yung door. So over here, we get a bottle holder, little cubby holder for some knickknacks. And this is the second row. So, getting inside. It's pretty spacious. We got headroom. And this is my reclining seating position in the passenger seat. So, pwede pa rin naman. Okay, let me show you with my regular driving position kung gaano siya kaluwag. Ayan, actually pretty luwag. So, there's ample leg room. I can even stretch. Ayan. So, for this variant, we don't get cup holders or center armrest. So, this is a 60-40 split na folding seats. And if we need to charge, you gotta ask the person in front to hand you a really long cable. Yun lang siguro. Okay, now moving on to the rear. Ah! Mani! The rear. So for this one, we get a manual tailgate. Still easy. So for this one, we get a tonneau cover. There we go. So it covers the whole thing. From your C-pillar pa lang, hindi na siya kita actually. Ayan. So, privacy for your sketchy stuff. De joke lang. And over here, we can pull the tab. Our spare is here. So, slightly smaller than our wheels actually. So, under this cover, ayan. Our tools are all here. So, we get our jack, our screwdriver, tow hook, tie wrench. Ayan. Pretty much complete. So, hopefully, we don't need that. So, what's nice pa here is there are other small cubbies and trays where you can put stuff. Ayan. So, kahit di ka na mag-full toolbox, yung mga kailangan mo lang ilagay mo dyan sa tray organizers ng Crosstrek. And to add, I don't know if it's a feature, ito so natural na hindi ko napansin na ginawa ko na lang, na you can hook it dun sa tonneau cover din. I'm not sure if this is a feature, but this is convenient. So, you're free to use both hands to get your stuff here. Tapos, I don't know, this is another cubby, but this looks like a cup holder to me. So, is it a cubby or a cup holder? Or both? Then, we get a trunk light over here. And some hooks over here. Okay, Chini seating test. So, this doesn't have a lip, but it's quite a jump to get on it. Tapos, look at this. Ang cute to. May mountain range pattern siya. So, I guess this is showing the Crosstrek's adventure vibes. So, yeah, it's actually pretty comfy here at the back. Ayan. So, pwede pang tambay. Kailangan mo lang tumalon up. So, I seats. So, moving inside, I think it fits mga 1 Chini lang. But if we remove the tonneau cover, oh, where does this go? Ayan, okay. And fold down the seats. Ayan, 60-40 split. Well, no, yung 40. Ayan, it looks like it can fit 3 Chinis inside na nakahiga. 3 Chini na hotdog. Ayan, like this. Ay, fits pa rin. Imagine ko nakaganto ka sa tambay, oh. Comfy. So, here's one thing I love about Subarus. Kahit fold down siya. Lily, let me show you. Okay, here if we move to the side. So, yung hassles of fold down seats is sometimes the seatbelt gets in the way. But in Subarus, it has a guide, though. So, it doesn't really get in the way when you fold the seats down or when you put it back up. So, if we just put it back up, ayan, it doesn't get in the way. And if we fold it down, ganun din. So, it doesn't interfere. So, I really love this feature. So, it's a small thing, but nakaka-increase siya ng quality of life sort of thing. Okay, so that's it for our walk around at the Crosstrek. It's time to go driving. Let's go!
Okay guys, so before we do our driving impressions, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and you can also follow us on our other socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And on to our driving impressions. But first of all, pansin ko lang, every time nagre-review tayo ng Subaru, umuulan or madilim. So, is that a thing? Okay, so let's start with the seating. So for this variant, we get manual adjustable seats. So we get height, recline, and forward-back adjustment. There's pretty good bolster to keep you in place. We get really Presco cloth seats. As for the steering naman, it's tilt and telescopic adjustment, so it makes finding your driving position really easy. As for the steering feel, it's pretty light, but it has a surprising amount of resolution and feedback. It's actually quite good. Now moving on to the engine, we were actually surprised to find out na it's a 2-liter. Having come from the first gen 2-liter BRZ, the Crosstrek was pulling harder and more responsive at low RPMs better than we expected. But after reading the spec sheet, it was made clearer when we found out what the bore and stroke of this engine was. In the BRZ, both bore and stroke was 86 mm. It's what you call a square engine. So it had more of a balance of low-end torque and high-rev playfulness. The Crosstrek, on the other hand, has 84 mm bore and 90 mm stroke. So this configuration allows for low-end torque and response at the expense of high rev capabilities. So kaya pala no problem for this engine to move this heavy of a chassis. So in traffic and city driving, there's more than enough pep to get you going where you want to be. So it's only when the roads open up na you kind of feel na maybe you do need a turbo. Now couple that with Subaru's Lineartronic CVT, it makes for a peppy and exciting drive here in the city. With the responsive paddle shifters and 8 simulated gears, you get control over what RPMs you want to be in when going for spirited drives. So this engine combo and transmission is really something that I can appreciate as a driving enthusiast. Now onto the suspension. Looking at the car from afar, we actually expected something more of a soft and fluffy ride. Parang yung lumang XV kasi that was soft and fluffy. But boy was I wrong. The Crosstrek actually rides on the stiffer side. Like, medyo slow down for road imperfection stiff. Kasi medyo I do feel it na. Naaalog na ako ng slight. So usually with the Subarus we've driven, diba the combo is boxer and then soft. Kasi the boxer sits very low and very balanced, so they can afford to do soft suspension. But for this one, I think Subaru had other plans. Kasi this is, I think, the stiffest Subaru we've driven. Where the XV fell a little short on high-speed stability and control, the Crosstrek came back with a vengeance. So as a driving enthusiast, I'd prefer a car that's slightly stiffer but with more high-speed control over an unpredictable wallowy cloud. Ow. That was stiff. And oh, how the stiff suspension shines in the handling department. So, moving on to the handling. Well, let's cut to the chase. It's good. Maybe better than the WX Wagon good. I know, medyo bold claim, but like, hear me out. Let me cook. If the WX sedan handled this good, pila mo na ako sa lent out because, oh my god. For starters, going back to the steering, for something that's light, it actually has a lot of feel. Pointing the front end where you need to go is actually an enjoyable experience on its own. This is the very first lent out that we've had. Scratch that, it's actually the first modern car that we've driven where the rear actually breaks traction sooner than the front. So we've mentioned before on the other good handling cars that we've driven that the rear rotates or that the rear follows the front. No, in the Crosstrek, this thing oversteers. At first we were like, yes! For experienced drivers, this is amazing. But then what about regular drivers? Has Subaru gone mad and chewed suspension that's potentially dangerous for the regular Joe? So we did the next best logical thing to do. We turned off vehicle dynamic control. Let's go see how crazy this handling can get. But upon turning in, the oversteer was gone. Like, where'd you go? The Crosstrek was now handling like your typical safe modern car, with the front end breaking loose first. So we experimented, we cycled between VCD on and off, and tama nga ang hinala. So yes, the driving aids, which usually normally kills handling, is actually what makes the handling amazing of this one. So it wasn't dangerous at all pala. The chassis was inherently tuned to handle good but safe, and the VCD is the one to take it a step further and allows the car to move in a race car way. Now, it's in a very controlled manner where it can dial it back down when needed. Actually, when you pay attention close enough, pag naka-on yung VCD, like say, when you're changing lanes, it's more responsive than when it's not on. So, dun pa lang, ramdam mo na siya eh. So, pro tip, don't turn off the aids, guys. It actually makes you faster. Ang galing talaga kasi the chassis is tuned to be inherently safe, but it's the VCD that actually makes it exciting. Exciting naman, exciting. Tapos wala pa tayo sa brakes nito. The brakes, they feel good. There's barely any play from where you start pressing on the pedal and where the pads start to bite. It's not heavy to operate, but you do feel exactly where the pads start to squeeze the rotor. This much brake control paired with the handling and the torquey responsive powertrain. Are you sure this is an entry-level Subaru? So handling, A+, easily one of the best handling cars we've ever driven. Now dialing it back to the daily scenario, one thing I like about Subarus that make the daily commute more pleasurable is actually eyesight 4.0. So that's what the cameras in front are for actually. So pag nag-daily drive ka in Manila traffic, you know what I mean by traffic, it takes away a lot of the stress. Like say, kunyari, when you're in daily Manila traffic, which is really tiring, you're modulating your brakes and everything, the Subaru takes away a lot of the pagod. So say like pre-collision braking, if somebody suddenly jumps right in front of you, you feel confident that the aids will help you out. The lane keep assist keeps you aware to stay in your lane. So that also comes with steering assist, by the way. Magaling siya mag-center, in fairness. And my favorite is adaptive cruise control with low speed follow. So what that means is, the car can set like a target in front of you and it's gonna follow it. So if it stops, you also stop. When it goes, you also go. So parang nakakabawas pagod kasi you're not always modulating your gas and your brake kasi the Subaru does it for you. So here's the clip of when we had the WRX with the adaptive cruise control in action. Yan lang we've noticed with the Crosstrek. The space it keeps between the car it follows is a bit bigger, so masisingitan ka compared to the WRX and the Forester. So that's one thing to note lang. So pretty much, it's true what they say, na the Crosstrek is just a taller WRX minus the turbo. So I was expecting a mellow, comfortable daily driver of a cloud coming into this review. Instead, what we got was a very exciting to drive Subaru. So it's nice to know na even with Subaru's cheapest option, sure, Subaru may tipid here and there to make the price point more accessible, but you still get the 100% full Subaru driving experience. Yun lang, to. Ikaw what? I'm U-turning. No!